Mountain Moving invited this artist. Her name is Diana Davidson, an Olivia Records musician, to come and sing, to give a concert at Mountain Moving. And some of the women of color were really upset about this because there had been some controversy about Davidson's, one of her songs, which is called Heroes. Davidson was from the South, and she wrote and sang this song called Heroes, which was a tribute to the African American woman who took care of her when she was a child. And so there was a controversy about the song. There had been every time Davidson played this song or sang this song, people thought it was racist. They said it was racist, that it was glorifying an unfair magnification, a system that practically enslaved black women to take care of white families and white children. And Davidson insisted that she was saying only positive things about this African American woman who took care of her, whereas the critics were saying that this kind of song was actually supporting an unfair racist system. And so the LLENA, as well as African American groups and a queer anti-racist group, appealed to the coffee house to not have this musician at her at the concert. And the women of the collective of Mountain Moving decided that they would go ahead with the concert anyway, that they would make an announcement before the concert, allow people to speak, and then they would hold an anti-racism workshop after the concert. So the African American, some people in the African American community, as well as CLEAR, which was the Chicago Lesbians Emerging Against Racism, called for a boycott of the event. LLENA was also calling for a boycott of the event. And at the event, one of the members representing LLENA, Maria Lugones, who's a philosopher, some of you might have heard of her, she made a statement which I'm going to read. She says, I am here to express our outrage and sense of betrayal. In this woman-only space, we will not tolerate Diane Davidson or anyone else who would objectify and romanticize slavery. We cannot accept no excuse from the coffee house or from Olivia Records for participating and rewarding as opposed to confronting and demanding change in racist behavior. The only appropriate action would have been to cancel the appearance. To have her perform and then have a discussion about racism repeats the pattern of speaking about racism as a way of making racist behavior acceptable. We will not be fooled. As part of the lesbian community, we absolutely demand respect. So the concert was held. They had an anti-racism workshop, which is what is the second picture that's represented there in outlines. And in the end, Mountain Moving apologized to the activists and said they shouldn't have had the event, and that they hope not to repeat that such an incident again. It's a nice example of organizing across races and of actually having an apology or a change in the behavior of a collective. So, and the story in outlines is amazingly detailed. It told all sides. It's really a nice thing to find and to think about years later. Another way that the LLENA was involved in organizing and coalition building was through the International Women's Day dances that they held starting in the late 80s. These went on until the early 90s. They were pretty cool. They started out at the Union Hall on South Ashland and got so big that they looked for a larger space. The ones in the early 90s were held at the Congress Hotel, and some of them had over 1,000 people who attended these dances. The dances were put together by a coalition of activist groups in the community. You can see their logos there at the bottom. One of the attempts that was made by the network that organized these dances was to have only groups that had 75% or more people of color actually be involved in the network that organized the dances. And the organizing work was a great way for people from these different organizations to get together and to understand each other's issues, and friendships developed and networks developed from this kind of organizing that made actions like the mountain moving coffee house action more possible because people were already working together across their own issues. Another interesting issue about these dances was the question of whether or not to include men. And this was a big issue that I noticed in the minutes of the meetings that were held, is going back and forth about whether or not men were going to be invited. Some people felt that they should be lesbian only events. In fact, there was people who wanted to call it the International Lesbians Day dance. That was shut down because people felt that they would limit the participation of folks. So then the question was whether or not to include men. And the solution that was reached was that men would be invited to come, but not encouraged to come. In other words, men were invited to support the group, buy tickets, but if they didn't want to show up, that was okay too. But men did show up at the dances, not very many, and that's the way it went down. So I've talked a little bit about organizing across the Chicago organizations. There was also an attempt made, especially by the first generation women, to organize transnationally. So in the newspaper outlines, there was also a space for, Amparo Jimenez was very interested in letting people know about what was happening in Latin America and the grassroots organizing there. So she made sure to include articles about issues and protests that were going on in Latin America, and the space was also open for Latin American activists to talk about issues that were going on. This was a letter that was in the paper outlines in 1989, and it reports an incident in Guadalajara, Mexico, where the police raided a lesbian bar, and the women were beaten and raped. And so the letter was, this is a sample letter that Jimenez and others were recommending that people write to Guadalajara, to the police, and to the president to complain about, to make a statement against this kind of treatment. So LLENA came together in 1988. By 1981, it started to fall apart. And different people that I talked to had different time periods for when they thought the organization dissolved. So for some people, it was 1991. For some people, it was 92, 93. So what happened was that little by little, people started leaving the group. And everyone that I talked to had an analysis of what happened. Some people thought that the problem was not everyone agreed on the goals of the organization. For some people, it was an organization to bring together women, to have a space, to just get together, hang out, and get to know each other. Other people were more politically inclined and wanted to have visibility both in the Latino community and the LGBTQ community. And so that conflict was never resolved. There were class and education differences. Some of the people were in school, in graduate school, or professionals, other people were working class people, unemployed people, and the women who had an education, and this is from the people who I interviewed, who were the educated ones, said that they were pretty pushy, and they had an idea of how things should run, and they basically alienated some of the working class women because they felt like they knew everything and it had to be the way they said, so that was a problem. The language differences were also a problem. As much as the group tried to resolve these, the issue of being Spanish-speaking or English-speaking, monolinguals, it's really hard over the long haul to sustain the commitment to doing everything in a bilingual manner. And then personal relationships, this is typical of organizations, and people start going out with each other, and then all kinds of problems happen. Alcohol was cited also as a problem. There was alcohol at meetings, and things sometimes got out of hand. So all of these reasons were suggested as reasons why the group did not exist past few years. And so it ended in the early 90s. Another group came up in 1995, which was a different time in Chicago, as is documented in Out and Proud in Chicago. The 1990s was very exciting in terms of all these groups that were coming together. This is just some of them that were coming together around queer activism, African American groups, Latino groups, Asian American groups. All these groups were operating in the mid-90s. And Amigas Latinas is a splinter group from WAC, Women of All Colors and Cultures Together, very exciting, important part of queer history in Chicago. Women would come together for brunches and meet across all these differences. And in 1995, Yvette Cardona, who's been attending these meetings, noticed that there was a pretty healthy Latino presence there, and she put an ad in Nightlines which states that asks if women are interested, Latina women are interested in organizing, and she specifically mentions, since LLENA is now defunct, we want to start a group with some of those same ideals. And this is Yvette Cardona at one of the early meetings of Amigas Latinas. So Amigas Latinas, one of the main activities that they engaged with was having pláticas. Once a month usually, they would bring together women in different houses around some topic of interest. And at each meeting, the group collectively would decide what the topic would be at the next meeting. Sometimes they would have a facilitator, sometimes the women themselves would facilitate. But it was very popular. There would be food, there would be a potluck, people would bring food, there would be some discussion around whatever the topic was, and then people would just hang out. So there were a lot of different topics. They dealt with all kinds of personal topics, coming out, how do you come out to your family. There were issues around dealing with finances. There were issues dealing with racism in the community. So all these topics were dealt with. Here's a plática around transgender issues that was a hot topic at the time. There was also lots of dances in Latino spaces. They did great flyers. I love this one, Noche de Pasión. And the group sometimes had the Amigas sometimes did the events on their own, sometimes with their brother group, Alma, which is a group for Latino and gay men. And always held in Latino spaces. This was in the Casa Puertorriqueña, California Avenue. So in addition to having the pláticas and social events, there was a recognition that a lot of the people in the group, again, were native speakers, Spanish language native speakers, and there weren't a lot of services for this community. So a couple of the members from Amigas Latinas, Aurora Piñera, and the Alma came together with this idea to start a PFLAG organization in Spanish. So it's called PFLAG Entre Familia en Español. And it gave an opportunity to for Spanish-speaking Latinos to bring their parents and their relatives to have these conversations about what it means to be queer. So that was an important contribution that Amiga and Alma provided. Also in 2001, Amigas Latinas got its first big grant. It got a grant of $10,000 from Llegó, which was a national queer organization at the time, Latino organization, to work on domestic violence prevention in the Latina lesbian community. This was, BASTA was a national group, an effort of Llegó, and Amigas Latinas got a grant to work on these issues in Chicago, to translate materials, to create materials, to train people involved in domestic violence about the specificity of domestic violence in Latina lesbian context. The group also sponsored dances to provide scholarships for young Latinas. It was originally called the Aixa Diaz Scholarship Dance. Aixa Diaz was a Latina lesbian, was a member and one of the founders of Amigas Latinas, who died. So originally the dances, the scholarships were named after her for a number of years. Another effort of Amigas Latinas was to create a group for young women. It was called Amiguitas, and these are some of the members. The Amigas would mentor the young women and give them a space to get together, help them organize events, and then help them grow. And that was one of the most successful efforts of Amigas Latinas and most important contributions. So Amigas Latinas started in 1995. It didn't, so it just, for a number of years, they just had the pláticas and dances and met informally. In 1998, they created their first steering committee, and then in 2003, they became a 501c3 organization, a nonprofit. This is very important because it provided access to funds from foundations. Now, there's been a lot of criticism about what happens to organizations that are grassroots when they become nonprofits and you don't have to deal with all the regulations and all the requirements of being such an organization. Some people think it takes away your radical edge and it inhibits you from growing in more interesting ways. But the fact is that it does, having this status does make it easy, or makes it possible for you to have access to funds from foundations and allow you to grow in certain ways. So Amigas was able to do that and started getting more and more funding to do more and more activities. Part of becoming a nonprofit was developing a vision statement, a mission statement, and a value statement. So that was useful for the women to get together and really think about and work out what the significance of the group was, what their priorities were, and this was a very useful process. One of the things that Amigas did in 2007, they got funding to do the Proyecto Latina project, which was to do a survey of Latina lesbians. Again, as I said at the beginning, there's not a lot of information about Latina lesbians in the Midwest. So this was a serious effort to survey the community and find out what the needs of the community were. With funding, we were able to do a survey of over 300 Latina lesbians in Chicago and the surrounding area. The survey was a 299 item survey, which was online and in Spanish and in English, and was also available in a paper copy. And it had all these questions about a range of issues, demographics, health issues, social issues, cultural issues, education. Finally, we wanted to get kind of a sense of who the community was, what the issues were, what the problems were. And because of this survey, we actually were able to document that there was a serious problem in terms of domestic violence within the community. There were issues of alcohol abuse and drug addiction, which we had identified and noted for the first time. This hadn't been done in this kind of empirical way before. And it led to the development of specific responses. We developed action teams to deal with some of these issues, and some of them were very creative, specifically the ones around domestic violence that were led by Daddy Peguera and Ruth Roca, two women with social workers within the community who thought of really interesting ways to bring in community people to train Latina lesbians within the community to help others respond to some of these issues.